before I even begin my presentation, I'd like to ask, which one of you like to or enjoy to kill, innocent lives, like innocent kids, especially? I don't think any of you, right? Well, I'm glad to know. So I'm against abortion, obviously, because it's taking the lives of innocents. And having an abortion not only takes away life, but it also harms and endangers the life of the mother that's having the abortion. In the early 1970s, the historic case of Roe v. Wade overturned the legal abortion laws of Texas and made abortion legal and left it up to the individual states to decide. And since that case, there's been about 49 million cases of abortion. And some pro-abortionists think that since then the lives of the mothers are not as endangered. But the truth is that abortion is as dangerous as it was in the early 70s. And according to the National Rights of Life Organization, after reaching a height of about 1.6 million abortions in 1990, the number of abortions annually performed in the U.S. has dropped back to the levels not seen since the early 70s. Which means that people have finally began to realize that, there is a side effect to this on the lives of the mothers. And just because you don't want the baby doesn't mean, that you don't even think about the mother or their lives themselves. And some pro-abortionists say that the child isn't really a human being until they come out of the womb or until the third trimester of the pregnancy, but the truth is that a normal human being like all of us, we have 46 chromosomes inside us, and the egg and the sperm each have 23. And so as soon as the baby is, inside the fetus or whatever, of the embryo, the sperm and the egg both give 23 chromosomes and make it a human being. And the heart is formed by the 22nd day in the womb, which means it's beating. According to Dr. Greenfield, the embryonic heart starts beating 22 days after the conception, or about 5 weeks after the last menstrual period, which by convention we call the 5th week of pregnancy. The heart at this stage is too small to hear even with amplification, but in some cases the flickering can be seen through ultrasound. So the child is alive after the 22nd day of it being in the embryo. And if the life of the child isn't important to you guys, the mom, like I said, like I've been saying, is in danger. Some pro-choice activists say that there's 0.5% risk of serious problems, and it doesn't affect the woman's health or future ability to become pregnant or give birth. But according to the Women's Health magazine, abortion increases a woman's overall risk of breast cancer by 30%. And recent studies have connected a higher risk of cervical cancer and ovarian cancer to previous abortions. And this is just one of the side effects. Another side effect could be heavy bleeding after the surgery itself, because the cervix and the uterus could be torn, or the uterus itself could be punctured, which causes heavy bleeding. And the second largest side effect is infection, which is caused through the insertion of medical instruments into the uterus. And the third biggest side effect isn't really physical, but it's psychological. And studies show that the mother can go through depression, like severe depression and anxiety after having the abortion. So, just to sum up my argument, if you don't really care about the innocent life of the child, at least care about the mother who's going to give the abortion or going to get the abortion. And that's all I want to say, that it really does harm and endanger the life of the mother.
All right. I thought that you had a good, clear statement of the focus of your argument on women's health early on, but then that doesn't really become your argument until about halfway into the presentation. You get sidetracked on some of the other issues that are related to value claims and other controversies concerning the issue of abortion. There's not really a setup of what the content of the speech is going to be, and you need a little bit more structure there. There's clearly good background on the controversy because you give us some historical context and references also. Like I said, it did seem like you were spinning in circles a little bit before you finally started getting to claims about women's health. Now, when you got to the claims about women's health, there were 2 or 3 particular claims that you developed, but you needed better evidence on those. You mentioned breast, cervical, and ovarian cancer, but I didn't hear any statistical information on this. I didn't hear a source with authoritative knowledge of the subject talking about what those risks are. We didn't even get an example of somebody who was living with the regret because they had developed these kinds of things after having an abortion. So I think that there needs to be a little bit more information there. When you get to the point, for instance, about the depression or the problems that people have after that, the only evidence that you have is studies show. And I don't know what those studies are and what exactly they showed and how significant it was, and so that information I think is a little bit underwhelming. You've got, like I said, you did have pretty good citation on some background information. So the stuff about the heart fluttering and about the number of chromosomes, that's all okay, but it doesn't really address the claim part of your argument, which is really about the health of women. I thought that you had a good, clear exit line, but you could use a little bit more summary of what your points were again. All right, thank you.